Hello everyone, Nico here. Today we're going to be doing a brief overview of the standard Wind Tristan deck and how its win conditions work. This deck features the Spirit of Wind, Tristan Underhanded, which allows us to choose between one preparation counter or agility 3, Tristan Hired Blade that draws up to 2 cards based on how many preparation counters we have, and both Tristan Shadow Dancer and Shadow Reaver. At the time of recording this video, we actually only have 2 champions that are able to level up laterally from one another, with Tristan being the first in this design concept from MRC. I really enjoyed this design concept and hope to see more in the future. In order to talk about the win conditions of the deck, we first must understand what prep is and how to acquire it. Since we're playing this deck in Win, we get access to Windwalker Boots, which is an item that passively gives us a prep counter in our end phase as long as our champion is awake. Sadie Blood Harvester, which is an almost unkillable ally that gives us 1 prep when she returns to her hand. And last, we have Mastermind Scheme that discounts as we level up since it has efficiency. This card doubles all prep counters on our champion, and if it doubled to 8 or more, then we gain agility 3 in our end phase. These prep counters can be used in many different ways, such as Slice and Dice, which is a 2-cost prepare 3 attack card that on hit allows us to declare an additional attack instance of Slice and Dice that deals an additional 3 damage but is now unprepared. Shadow Strike, which is a 2-cost 4 base damage attack that increases based on how much you prepare X for. As long as you prepare this attack card for at least 1, it gains Unblockable, which will allow you to bypass interceptors and taunts. Lastly, we even have defensive cards such as Penumbral Waltz that blocks 3 plus however many prep counters you remove for your champion, as well as creating 2 additional Ominous Shadow tokens if you removed 3 or more prep counters. But what exactly is an Ominous Shadow? You may have seen earlier when we mentioned Tristan's lineage that she has 2 separate level 3s with different effects. Tristan Shadow Dancer, on enter, gives us 1 preparation counter and the ability to remove 2 preparation counters from your champion to redirect an attack to an Ominous Shadow. Our level 3 just also happens to summon not 1, but 2 Ominous Shadow allies. These shadows have a 1 power, 4 health stat line and prevent 3 damage whenever they are dealt damage. They also have unblockable like Shadow Strike, bypassing taunts and intercept, but they can only follow up when Tristan has dealt combat damage to an opposing champion this turn. Tristan's signature weapon, Shadow's Claw, synergizes extremely well with them, allowing your shadows to use the weapon when attacking, adding a durability before removing 1, making them attack for 2 damage instead of 1. Tristan's other level 3, Shadow Reaver, allows us to banish the top 4 cards of our opponent's deck and activate them ignoring elemental requirements. You usually wouldn't want to play this against a deck like Razorgale Arasana, which gives no long-term value for most of the cards in their kit. A couple of really good decks to play this into are Luxem Xander, since almost all cards are Assassin and have some sort of tempo advantage, or even Crux Lorraine, attempting to take Ghost of Pendragon for good value. Ultimately, this deck has 3 win conditions: Ally Beatdown, followed by Slice and Dice, and finally Shadow Strike. With Ally Beatdown, it's very important to stabilize on the board early, playing cheap allies such as Windblast Lookout or Windmill Engineer, and returning them back to hand to replay them again with Ace and Protector. Sadie, which is one of the best allies in the deck, has the ability to pay 2 to return to her hand and gain a prep counter. And if she kills something, then we also gain agility 3, allowing us to pick up 3 cards from our memory in the end phase and put them back in our hand. Let's see this in action. Let's say instead there's a bigger ally, like Ace and Protector. If we have enough cards in hand, we can swing into the ally and then pay 2 to bring Sadie back into hand, and then immediately replay her and swing in again to clear the ally. This will then give us agility 3. Even though we played her twice, we'll only get the instance once. The last example we will talk about with Sadie is using her ability defensively. In this example, we have already swung with Sadie last turn and are holding 4 cards in hand. The Frostborn Paladin attempts to swing 3 damage into Sadie, so we pay 2 in order to save her, but in response, our opponent plays a Freezing Hail targeting our Sadie for 2 damage. Since we have 2 cards left in hand, we can reactivate her ability by paying 2 more, which fortunately our opponent will let us resolve. It's important to note that since we only returned Sadie to our hand once, we will only get the 1 preparation counter. Our second win condition is known as Assassin Ripper Slice and Dice. When we have 4 preparation counters, we can materialize the Assassin's Ripper. Assassin's Ripper is a 1 cost, 1 power, 2 durability weapon that can rest itself by removing a prep counter to give the weapon an extra 2 power until end of turn. After materializing and then recollecting, we can pay 2 to slice and dice, paying the additional cost of resting our champion, and preparing by removing 3 prep counters from our champion to activate the card. Once the card has resolved, we declare the unit we are attacking and weapon we are using. In this case, we are declaring an attack against the Spirit of Fire using the Assassin's Ripper. Before damage, we can rest the Assassin's Ripper and remove a prep to give it 2 more power. Now, Slice and Dice is coming in for a base 3 damage, plus 3 from the weapon for a total of 6 damage. And on hit, we can declare an additional attack of Slice and Dice. This time, it will be unprepared, but deal an extra 3 damage, for a total of 9 damage coming at the Spirit of Fire. In this case, it will deal 15 damage, which will be a lethal amount. Lastly, we have Shadow Strike. Let's say that we leveled up into level 3 Tristan Shadow Dancer, gaining our 2 Ominous Shadows and a prep counter. After materializing and recollecting, we can activate Shadow's Claw from a material deck at slow speed since we have 4 or more prep counters. We will then pay 2 and prepare all 5 prep counters that we have to attack with Shadow Strike. Once this attack card is resolved, we can choose a unit to attack. Goja currently controls Seiryu, but since Shadow Strike was prepared, we can ignore the taunt keyword that Seiryu has and target Goja directly. The attack will deal 1 from the Shadow's Claw, 4 from the base of Shadow Strike, plus an extra 5 from the extra prep counters used to deal 10 damage. Though this was not enough damage to kill her with just the attack card, we can use both of our shadows with the Shadow's Claw since they have unblockable to swing in for 2 damage each. It's important to note that though Shadow Strike can deal more damage in the late game compared to Slice and Dice will always be the most efficient damage to prep counter ratio. If you find your opponent with no cards in hand and you have enough prep counters for the Slice Assassin's Ripper combo, it's always going to be the fastest kill that Tristan can achieve early. Thanks for watching. This has been the beginner's guide to win Shadow Strike Tristan. If you have any suggestions on what you'd like to see more of, make sure to leave a comment down below. That's all for now. I'll see you in the arena, champion.